Hello, welcome to the Personal Corona Recovery Program. My name is Peter Mueller and I've designed this program to help you to go through the 15-day quarantine process imposed by the federal and local governments. I hope these videos will help you to get yourself ready after this whole corona crisis is over to address your life professionally and personally in a more effective way. Today we are on day 11 and we have Basic Health and Fitness Part 3 where we are talking about nutrition. But first of all, I would like to ask you to send me some comments about the program and suggestions, so please send me an email to the address below. And also, I recommend you to subscribe to my YouTube channel because there are many other videos you can look up in terms of time management, about proteins, peptides, biochemistry, and management issues. But now back to the program. First of all, first things first, day 10 checkpoint. Did you take any actions viewing the day 1 to 10 videos? If not, please go back and do your homework because everything is building on the days before. Did you decide on a fitness program? Did you think about a fitness or strength program or using your current program and enhancing it? If not, take a decision and make the first step. For your new program, do you have personal objectives for the program? Whether it's weight loss, whether it's strength, whether it is just toning your body, whatever it is, but write it down and be specific. Did you read the lessons 36 to 40 in the 101 lessons book? Did you meditate 10 minutes every day? I hope you did so. Otherwise, you can go back to the drawing board. But I'm sure you did all your homework and are excited to see what you can find out today on day 11. Today we are talking about nutrition. Our body is a very sophisticated biochemical machinery, and our nutrition is basically to facilitate three processes. Number one, basically to keep us alive. Simply maintaining our bodily functions, that we can breathe, that our heart beats, blood is flowing, that we can move, that we can think, that we can sleep, and most importantly, waking up the next day. These are the basic functions. And in order to perform these functions, our body needs energy, and that's one of the key functions of our food and nutrition we take. It is a source of energy. Food has chemical energy stored, which is actually turned in our body into other forms of energy. But besides as a pure energy source, also our nutrition is needed to build and maintain our body, because our 30 trillion cells in our body are being renewed every 18 months. Basically, we have a new body at a molecular and cellular level. So building and maintaining our organs, our skin, everything, renewing our blood, renewing our organs, this is all happening at a cellular level, and nutrition is a key supplier of energy and biochemically active substances. And we basically differentiate between macronutrients and micronutrients. Macronutrients are in essence the big molecules. It is carbohydrates, fat and proteins, and the micronutrients are the electrolytes, the vitamins, the phytochemicals and other substances. Now, how does it work in our body? And you see a little bit on the right hand side. We have a system in our body which is called the digestive system, which starts with our mouth and goes through the esophagus, then to the stomach, and then it goes through the intestine. And while it goes through the stomach, and from the stomach and the intestine, the materials are broken down in essence, and most of the substances broken down and chemically already modified are absorbed in the intestine, go through the blood and go through our extracellular border, and it brings it to the periphery of the body, where the individual cells get the energy and the necessary building blocks to do all the biochemical engineering in our body. And the liver and the kidneys have functions to produce specific biochemical intermediates and finished products and peptides and proteins for our body, which act as hormones and catalysts for biochemical reactions. And at the end of the day, whatever we couldn't use, what our body couldn't use, is finally excreted. That entire process, from taking a piece of fruit or any kind of food in our mouth, from chewing until it leaves us through our feces or through the urine, this whole process has in essence 4 steps. ADME is it called: absorption, distribution, metabolism and excretion. And we simply have to go, every of our molecules we take with our food in us goes through this particular process. Now, we talked about the macronutrients and micronutrients. So the macronutrients, you all have heard: proteins, carbohydrates and fat. And we have fruits, we have meat, we have vegetables, and we have fish, we have eggs, we have dairy products, so we have milk, and then we have also corn and vegetables and so forth. And all of them have a different kind of composition on how much proteins, how much carbohydrates and how much fats are included. And our body needs a certain kind of balance. We cannot just live on proteins or just on carbohydrates or just on fats. The micronutrients, the vitamins and minerals, those are biocatalysts and substances we need in our body to facilitate the biochemical processes. They work as catalysts. They need to be present, that a chemical reaction between 2 compounds actually can happen. The 2 substances, they wouldn't bind to themselves, but in the presence of a vitamin, they can do it. You can think about it like a priest. A man and a woman, they come to the priest, and the priest hold both hands and they walk and they are married. So the catalyst facilitates the process, but actually itself is not being utilized in the process. So the priest stays there and can do it again. Can people marry them again? And that's what vitamins do. Vitamins are substances where other substances come together, they bond together, move away, and the vitamin can do it over again and again and again. And then we have some other substances which we have, like pantothenic acid, fluorides, biotin, and chlorine. These are substances, these are ions. We know we need them, but they are not essential, but we know every healthy functioning body utilizes these substances. And in our nutrition, we should take care that we have them always in our body. Now, we said most of the function of nutrition is first to provide energy to the body. In all of our food has actually chemical energy stored in it. And the amount of energy is actually expressed in calories. And I said it in a previous video, calorie is the amount of energy which is needed to increase the temperature of 1 milliliter of water from 14 degrees Celsius to 15 degrees Celsius. That is the amount of heat or energy required to do that. Now, how does it relate to protein, fat, alcohol, and carbohydrates? 1 gram of protein has 4 calories. 1 gram of carbohydrates has 4 calories. 1 gram of alcohol has 7 calories, and 1 gram of fat has 9 calories. And as mentioned before in day number 10, to lose 1 gram of body fat, we need to incur a net loss of 7 calories. So 1 kilogram, we need to create a deficit of 7,000 calories. Now, the entire chemical energy which is in our food can be used from our body in 3 ways. Number 1, it is used for thermal energy, which is about 75%. This is to keep us alive, basically. That all of our biochemical processes, our permanent renewal process, is functional. That we can think, see, hear, and everything, but not doing any physical work, at rest. And then, for physical work, for moving our muscles, this is the other part of the physical energy which is used, which is kinetic energy. And if we have in excess of that some energy in our food, our body can choose to store the excess energy which is not used in thermal energy and works, and to produce body fat, which converts the fat from outside the body in the food in a different kind of way and stores it as body fat. Proteins are the building blocks for life. Proteins are large chains of amino acids, 50 and more, and if it's 10 to 20, they are called peptides, smaller chains, and they are being re-engineered by the body. The proteins are all chopped into peptides and amino acids, and the body reassembles them to its own proteins and peptides. The one big form is, for example, in the muscle. These are long protein chains, which is a muscle protein, but we have also proteins, shorter ones. For example, insulin, a very important hormone, is a peptide hormone. It is a string of 50 amino acids which is needed to transport carbohydrates from the blood to the blood cells, to the cells in the periphery to perform the energy conversion in the body. And fat can be used as an energy, or it is being just repurposed for body fat. It is first put in the body into an energy form, and then is being reassembled to fatty acids and to body fat. Now, how much do we need? How much energy do we need in our body? And here it is a list. These are rough estimates, but I just want to give you a ballpark figure. So our energy consumption at rest from our body is dependent on 3 things: of our age, of our body weight, and of our height. Now, I just took an average body and height of about 5'4" or so, which is about 1.70 m or so. And a body at rest, you see on the right-hand side, the rough estimates for people of 110 pounds to 200 pounds, or 50, 60, 70, 80, 90 kilograms. On the upper part, you see the grid for male, and on the bottom part you see the grid for female. These are rough estimates as base metabolism. So for example, a 60-year-old male with 50 kilograms has a base metabolism of 1200 calories, while a 20-year-old 90 kilogram male has a base metabolism of 2020 calories. These are rough figures to give you an idea where you might be. All right, for more details, if you want to have it specifically calculated for yourself, if you give me your age, if you give me your height, and give me your age and sex, I can calculate it more specifically. Send me an email and I will do it for you. Because the base metabolism is an important number to know, because base metabolism plus our physical exercises is our total energy consumption, which we have to cover with our nutrition. Now, we talked about the total quantity. Now we have to talk about the quality of our mixture of the calories. As I said, the three components: carbohydrates, protein, and fat. You can go through the literature, and if you are an athlete or if you are an old person, there are ranges for people on how it is, and you can go through the literature and over the years, and these are some typical ratios as you find them in the literature. You find the 50-20-30 partitioning, meaning 50% of your calories should come from carbohydrates, 20% of protein, and 30% of fat. And there are other schools of thought which say it should be 40-30-30. These are recommendations for people who are in a sports program trying to lose weight and building muscle. They have more of 40-30-30 kind. So you see, roughly half of it and below, between 30 and 50 for carbohydrates, and between 15 and 30 you have it for protein, and for fat you have it always around 30% of the calories. Now, all things are not equal. First of all, I personally think a little bit higher in the protein, a little bit lower in the carbs. I like this balance a little more, because your body can store carbohydrates in the form of glycogen in your muscle, so you are not running a deficit on carbs if you are temporarily a little bit hypoglycemic for a few hours. In physical exercise, you can actually break down the carbs, break down glycogen, and can use the carbs as energy while you work out. On the carbohydrates, there are simple and complex carbohydrates. The simple ones, they go quickly into the blood and they can create some spikes and requiring then insulin going into the blood. And you go the yo-yo, you feel hungry again, you want more sweets and so forth. So that's why you should always try to get more complex carbohydrates, which are in dark bread and in vegetables and so forth. On the protein side, you always hear different kind of quality of proteins. The so-called biologic value is one of the key phrases here. The biologic value simply says to what percentage it includes so-called essential amino acids. Because out of your 20 amino acids in your body you are using to produce your proteins, there are 8 which are essential. Your body cannot produce it by itself. The other 12, the body can actually manufacture the amino acids by themselves. These are non-essential amino acids. But 8 are essential, they have to come from nutrition. And you see later there are certain foods where it is easier to have a relatively high biologic value, so that you have all the essential amino acids in sufficient quantity in your nutrition. Because if you are deficient, you are actually losing muscle mass and you cannot produce certain proteins and peptides which are important for your biochemical functioning of your body. And from the fats, there are also some very basic things. First of all, you all heard you should avoid trans fats, and between unsaturated and saturated fats, you should have a good balance of them. So not only unsaturated and not only saturated. But there is enough literature. You can dig a little bit deeper or go to my nutrition videos on YouTube or on my biochemical. There you can have much more details. I can just scratch the surface here and conceptually explain you the fundamentals. You can use this video to start and digging deeper if you want to fine-tune your nutritional plan. Now, I was talking about proteins. If you just want a rule of thumb, because with proteins you should pay a little bit attention to, particularly vegetarians and vegans, it is a little bit more difficult with plant proteins to get enough essential amino acids into the body, and the body can actually absorb them, that they are easily available and digestible. So easy access to high quality protein is in lean meat, in fish, in tuna. Egg white is the standard basically. And then dairy products, Greek yogurt for example, or quark, have terrific biologic values. Cottage cheese too. And on the plant-based, high protein quantity and relatively high biologic value, soy, quinoa, spirulina, beans, lentils, and tofu. However, on their own, they are still below regular meat or chicken or fish or so forth. However, by combining soy with wheat or beans and corn or rice and bean, you can substantially elevate the biologic value of your vegetable, of your non-meat based protein. Also there you can go to my website to get more details. This just from an overview point of view. And there is a basic rule of thumb that essentially your body needs about 0.5 gram of protein per kilogram body weight. And if you work out and if you want to build muscle, the rule of thumb of sports people is about 1 gram per kilogram body weight. This is in the middle lane what you see here. So based on your body weight, you can estimate how many grams of protein you should have by the day, and you can calculate it based on the amount of food you eat, what percentage is in, and so forth. And if you base it on a calorie count, you have the grid on the right hand side to see in detail what it is. And if you want it, send me an email. I can send you in detail sophisticated tables how you can calculate it for yourself. But for the time being, this should be enough. Now, some basic considerations, and again, all of this is not meant to be medical or dietary advice. This is just general knowledge combined with some personal ideas and non-binding recommendations. Major considerations: sufficient fluid you need for the day, proper hydration. 2 liters of water, I think, is a good number, is a little more than 0.5 gallon. But if you eat fruits, you don't need it necessarily in the form of water. But water, I think personally, is the best. It has no calories, it has a perfect pH for the body, it has some minerals in it, and so forth. The moment you get involved with sodas, you get unnecessary calories, you get caffeine in it and stuff you don't necessarily need. Then, from a protein point of view, look for high quality proteins. Lean meat, chicken breast, turkey breast, you know it, from that kind of view, or fish, or when you have your vegetables, or when you have your vegetarian, that you make the proper combinations. Bean-rice combinations are very good to increase the biologic value of your protein. De-emphasize fast carbs. So I say personally, potato, pasta, rice, or bread on an exceptional basis, or tone it down and go more in the direction of complex carb sources. Consider fruits as a carb source because you get also terrific minerals. You get fiber with it, you get vitamins with it. So fruits, for me, for example, I have every day 4 fruits, at least one citrus, which is either an orange or a grapefruit, and then I have at least an apple in a salad or so, and I have a pear in it and a nectarine. I have 4 fruits a day, which gives me a lot of things other than just carbohydrates. But the sugars, the carbohydrates which are in fruits, is fructose and not glucose. It doesn't require insulin in your body to transport from the blood to the cell, which is a positive thing to have. On the fat side, oil and saturated fats, have them properly balanced, and consider, particularly if you go on a diet to lose weight, or if you are athletically in an intense physical program, consider supplements for vitamin and mineral supplements. And if you do intense sports workouts, protein supplements are also part of the menu, so to speak. And whey protein and albumin are both having a biologic value of 100 and slightly above, which is the pure egg white, the standard of biologic value of 100%. On that note, this should be enough for a quick overview on it. Left hand side, I don't need to remember. Make a nutritional plan. Make some minor adjustments after you heard. Go a little bit into the literature. Nutrition for Dummies, the free book. You can get it on pdfdrive.com. Identify your base metabolism, that you know from a quantity point of view how much you should be eating and drinking per day in terms of calories. Search for good protein and carb sources, and read lessons 41 to 45. And tomorrow on day 12, we come to a subject matter I really love: managing your time, managing your life. On that note, see you tomorrow and live with passion. Stay home, stay safe, and practice social distancing.